What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Day, and I know I'm late as ever with this daggone Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion review. But y'all, can I tell you something? This reunion has been the most boring reunion that I have ever witnessed in the history of Real Housewives reunions. And they could have really just wrapped this all up in one daggone episode. But we're going to get into it right now, shall we?
Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming with a force, yeah. Blessing the reap and we coursing on.
Y'all, so reunion part one basically was, Marlo playing the tiniest violin that we can ever find of her going down memory lane of her childhood, talking about a bunch of nothing. I'm so sorry, y'all, but I do not care. Marlo, you talked the most crap about every single female on that stage, okay? But then when it's time for you to pay the piper, you up here giving a daggone sob story. And I don't have time for that. You try to play Candy. You want to talk about how when Candy got you that deal, it wasn't enough money and all this, that, and the third because you was just so pressed to be a peach holder. Listen, I don't know how much money you would have been making on your own show, but that could have been something to catapult you into your own thing where you didn't have to be so pressed to be a housewife. But you like it, I love it. Do what you want. Do what you got to do, sis. Okay. Then, all the little petty stuff with talking about Sheree's clothing line and her and never gonna get it together. It whatever. Reunion part one could have really just been in the dust because it was just a huge waste of the viewers' time for reunion part one. It was just all bulked together with Marlo's bullshit that don't nobody give a damn about. And I'm so sick and tired of people trying to compare Marlo's childhood with Kenya's, and that's somehow the reason why they have this big old hiccup in their relationship. Let's make this very clear, okay? Marlo did not grow up with her mother. No, she did not. And she didn't grow up with her father. Kenya, but on the other hand, she grew up with her dad and her siblings, okay? Her grandmother raised her. She had family members around her, okay? Now, she did have that time period where she talked about she ran away or something like that to a boyfriend's house. But then she ended up going back to her, living. She grew up with her grandmother. So she grew up around her family. Marlo, on the other hand, did not. Okay. I watched Funky Deneva's. If you guys watch Funky Deneva, amazing vlogger. He talked about Marlo and he made a really good, valid point. He said that with Marlo, everybody always is asking where Marlo gets her money from. Okay. And there's no way that Marlo has the money that she has because she just out here getting it. It's just not, that's not the case. So he said he just really wishes that Marlo would be honest about where she gets her money from. Like she did get the money from the rich billionaire guy. He paid off, apparently, allegedly, she used the money to pay off her house. Marlo is living in a paid off townhome. So, of course, she's able to spend money frivolously on certain things because she doesn't have to pay for a living space. She has, then he talked about credit card fraud, allegedly with some people that she had some dealings with to get some of the clothes that she has for La Archive. Okay. So Marlo tells a lot of lies about where she gets her money from. And I don't know if it's because she's trying to be mysterious, if you will, but it's like it's really getting played out. It's like, girl, where do you get your money from? And if you don't want to tell us, just say that and stop with the damn sob stories about your life because you can't give a sob story and then talk shit about somebody the next minute. Like it's not panning out and we do not care. No tears are shed over your childhood. And here's the biggest thing. You are, she said she was born in 76. Y'all do the math for me. She's either in her late 40s or early 50s or something like that. So I'm thinking she's in her late 40s. Grow up. Get some help. You going to therapy now, you should have been going to therapy a long time ago over the stuff that you're dealing with. That doesn't give you an excuse because you were a foster child or you so-called had a childhood that was worse than everybody else for you to sit up here and cry over spilt milk. Cry me a river, dick face. That's all I want her to do. Cry me a river, dick face. I don't got time for none of this stuff that you're talking about. You, all of this stuff that happened to you when you were younger, that happened to you, now you are an adult, you need to deal with it and don't take it out on other people, because it's not okay for you to sit up here and talk about other people, but then when somebody give it back to you, now you want to hide behind being a foster child or you having a hard childhood. What about your adulthood, sis? Because that's pretty messed up too, the way you treat people, and you so daggone two-faced. Okay, but that was all episode reunion part one, y'all. So I didn't do a review last week. Number one, because I told y'all in my last video for Love and Marriage Huntsville that I really didn't have a voice. I was coughing a lot because I was suffering from bronchitis for the last 3 weeks. And I wasn't about to waste a little bit of air that I could muster to get up on this camera to talk about that boring ass reunion. And this was just as boring, child. But we're going to get through it, okay? So this episode part two continues with Marlo playing the tiniest violin for her life's troubles, okay? And King is just like, listen, sis, I'm not buying it, okay? She needs to accept responsibility for her actions, and her words don't match her actions. Like if Marlo had a literally just laid down and apologized to everybody once she came to the reunion and said, you know what, I said some pretty nasty things about y'all, and I just want to apologize because I'm just jealous of y'all or whatever. I just want to be y'all friend so bad, or I just wanted to create drama on the show, or I wanted to secure my space, so I felt like I had to overdo it. And just be honest, because this behavior is just not, it's so weird. She's giving very weird. And Kenya has peeped her whole car and she's not about to entertain her BS, okay? So then Kenya said, you know, Marlo was talking about men and her issues with being with men. But then she turns around and says Candy can't keep a man because her pussy wasn't good. And I'm like, child, how do you know if Candy couldn't keep a man? And then I'm so tired of Marlo talking about, all of them seem to have it really messed up as far as Candy's money. Marlo gonna say, oh, Candy only, you know, she was in Escape and that was a long time ago. You know, she had money when she was a kid. May I remind you that sis called Candy Burris, you better put some respect on her name. She's written songs for popular artists such as This Is Beyonce's Internet over here, okay? Don't play. Written songs for Beyonce, for Destiny's Child, Ed Sheeran, which was a number one song for the longest time that she wrote, and many, many more on the list. Do not play with Candy Burris, okay? She has racks on racks on racks, stacks on stacks on stacks on things that she did a long time ago that she's still getting mailbox checks to this day and able to employ her family members and her friends. And she tried to make it seem like Candy just really got on the come up once she came on to the Housewives. Are you kidding me? Candy has always been the richest person on the show because of her residual income and royalties from the things that she's done before she got on the Housewives. Now, has the Housewives helped to enhance some things? Yes, I'm sure it's helped her to promote her bedroom candy line, helped promote her restaurants and things like that. It's helped her to gain spinoffs and things of that nature. But Candy was acting and doing and singing before she came on the Housewives. So I'm so tired of Marlo. Get your facts straight. You and Sheree, because both of y'all seem to be delusional on the background of Miss Candy Burris. But I rest my case on that one. And then also she want to talk about Kenya. Kenya wasn't getting a check and she wasn't doing this and that and the third before the Housewives. Just because you are so pressed to be on the Housewives doesn't mean that Kenya wasn't getting it before that. Can I remind you of all the black movies that she's been in? She even was on popular sitcoms. She was on the Cosby Show. She was on A Different World. She was in several movies. Several. So I just don't understand where all the hate is coming from for Kenya and Candy. But Marlo, get it how you live it, girl, and you live in foul. So I rest my case. Moving on. So Sanya jumps in when Marlo Kenya was talking about basically defending Candy and saying that Marlo is just pretty much trifling, how she always talking about somebody can't keep a man. Hold on, y'all. Somebody can't keep a man, but she doesn't have a man. Excuse. This is why I wasn't on camera. Sometimes when I talk too much, it starts making me cough. But anyway, we're gonna work through it. So Sanya jumps in, tries to save the whole Marlo situation. And Drew even said she can't trust Marlo, but she wants to. She wants to create a relationship with her. Sorry, y'all. Trying to make it through. I don't know why the cough was so good for the last couple times. I don't know why it's trying to come back, but okay. But anyway, Drew even says that she has issues with trusting Marlo because of how she's been acting. So move right along. In the next scene, Marlo talks about the break-in at her home and how the intruders left because she said some choice words through the camera or through the door that made them leave. So I'm like, whatever she said, first and foremost, I don't want anybody to ever experience that. Somebody coming in and trying to violate your home, that's probably like the worst thing that anybody can ever do. And I'm so glad that whatever she said, whether she said, I got 10 people in here that's about to beat you down with a machete in everybody's hand, whatever happened to make them run away, I'm glad they did. And I remember her saying that one of the boys had screamed, Auntie, like somebody was, they heard the person trying to come in the house. So I'm glad that they are safe. That's the biggest thing. Okay. So moving on, Kenya was upset because Marlo apparently didn't share with them what was going on. She said Candy had an intruder. I think Sheree had a run in with a possible intruder. Drew had somebody that tried to break into her house too. It was a couple of people on the show that experienced somebody trying to break into their house. And, they were just saying they have some group chat where they basically discuss how they can try to keep each other safe. Like you want to share the details and share information about this stuff so that they all don't, have any issues and they can parent share information. And Kenya felt like Marlo wasn't being forthcoming with the information, but Marlo said that the cops told her that, she couldn't say anything. And then she said, well, no, I'm going to talk to somebody. So she ended up going over to Sheree's house and sharing with her what happened. So, I don't know. Hopefully, don't nobody try to break into their homes anymore because that is a crazy situation. All right, y'all. So in the next scene, they discuss Marlo sending Michael and William away. Okay. She says she sent them away because she needed a reset and she didn't want to beat on them or cause them trauma. Here's my thing. As a mom, I couldn't imagine maybe overnight getting myself a break or whatever so I can get some self care or mental health or whatever. But sending my son away for 30 days is never going to happen. As a parent, You have to be responsible. And I didn't like how Andy was trying to somewhat pacify Marlo because of what she, for her sending them away. And I just feel like that was just dirty. Like, I get it. She doesn't have any children, so she doesn't know what it's like to be a parent. But at the end of the day, you got to be human. You know that how you felt when you felt like you were finally going to get adopted, or you kept getting shifted around from home to home. What makes you think that Michael and William found that behavior acceptable? They don't. Nobody wants to be treated as if they're unwanted. And by you sending them away to your sister's house, I'm sure it made them feel like they were unwanted. And Marlo is just so selfish. She's so busy wanting everybody to kiss her ass. Like, the whole time she's on the show, all you hear about, support me, support me. I'm like, you sounding like a broken record, like Nene. Maybe that's why y'all were friends, because you want everybody to kiss your ass, and you haven't done anything to solidify any reason why anybody should be remotely loyal to you or giving you all these accolades. You haven't done anything to deserve them. You sending your kids away, you talking trash to people. Why would anybody want to be your friend or condone your behavior? It's very delusional, and I just don't understand it all. But Candy speaks up and says she felt like she made her home their place, so it was messed up to send them away after she gave them everything they wanted. And then Marlo said foster parents take classes, and but she came from the streets. That's still another excuse. People that have kids, there's not a handbook that comes out with every kid that tells you how to be a parent. When you decide to be a parent, you have to just roll with the punches and do what it do, make it do what it do, baby. You didn't do that. You just rolled on out. You so used to living your life like it's golden and doing what you want to do. You thought it was cute to have kids for a little bit and it helped your little image. But then once the goings get tough and you want to have your time back, you want to send them away. And that's really, really entirely messed up. But Marlo still makes excuses for it. And Marlo tries to do damage control and talk about how she's got them in therapy, she has them back, and blah blah blah. And then Kenya says, so she continued to make excuses. Marlo continued to make excuses for her behavior on what she did, and Kenya asked for a tissue. And Andy said, oh, are you moved by Marlo's speech? And Kenya said, oh no, my nose was cold. And then Marlo says, um, Kenya says Marlo was just saying all that for damage control. And then Marlo calls Kenya a B-I-T-I-E-I-E. Okay. So I was like, why you had to call the girl a B? Like, that was just a little extra. She was just telling her, saying how she felt about what you did. So moving on. Then they talk about Marlo's edges, and Andy asked, was the surgery working out? Then Marlo Andy was like, you should have used some of Kenya's products. Maybe that'll help your edges. Then Marlo gonna say, yeah, I went to CVS and I bought some of Kenya's products. I'm like, girl, you is such a kiss ass. You ain't bought none of Kenya's products. Stop playing with me. I would have said, what it smell like? What color is it? Because you on this internet you on this TV lying. That's what you're doing. You ain't bitten more by none of Kenya's products than the man in the moon. But moving on. So then they discuss Sheree getting clowned about her spring, summer, fall comments. Moving on, she still ain't got no damn the clothes that was on the show, so I ain't paying for $100 for a damn t-shirt. Sheree can kiss the ashiest side of my black ass. Okay, I'm all about supporting black businesses, but I'm not about getting hoodwinked by any color business. Okay, that's black, white, blue, or green. That's period. Okay, moving on. So they talked about Kenya changing this season, and Candy says she had a lot of good energy left over from doing Dancing with the Stars. And Kenya starts to get emotional because she said, I was really on a high, because my grandmother, I used to dance when I was little and we couldn't afford dance classes. So we would do free things in the neighborhood with the community centers. And my grandmother was so supportive of it. And she loved to see me dance. And I felt like I was doing it for her. Like she finally could see me dance professionally. And, just made her happy to be able to do that. But she wished that her grandmother was around to see her ultimately fulfilling her dream of dancing. And that kind of overwhelmed me with joy too, because I've never seen Kenya really get emotional like she has this season, especially over sentimental things. And so it was just nice to see her share a personal private moment like that from her past with her grandmother. So then they talk about Sanya and Kenya and the couples trip comments. Now, Sanya says that she wasn't trying to be shady by saying couples trip. She was basically trying to reiterate, because when they went to New York, Candy was like, no couples, only come by yourself or whatever. And Kenya was complaining that she couldn't bring anybody. She didn't know that she could bring somebody to New York, and she wished that she knew. Even though, I guess Candy was like, you could bring whoever, but Kenya didn't know that she could bring a plus one. So saying it was like, I was just simply trying to reiterate that you can bring somebody on this trip, but it don't have to be a male counterpart. It could be a girlfriend, like one of your homegirls or whatever. You can bring whoever. And I just thought it was cool that iFit would even extend that much to pay for us to bring somebody. And I'm like, well, girl, you should have just freaking said that. Because you was trying to, I don't care what saying it says, you were trying to be messy by constantly, you said it over and over again. And she gonna say, well, I didn't realize I said it over and over again like that. No, you were being petty. Because you knew this girl is going through a divorce. So why would you be sitting up here pressing her to bring somebody? And she's not even divorced yet. So what makes you think that he wouldn't try to use this against her because she out here dating and technically they not divorced? And he probably up there dicking down every time Dick and Harry that he want to. But he ain't on camera. Like, girl, bye Sanya. You wanted it with Kenya, and you came for her, but you got sent back. That's what you did. So moving on, they discussed Kenya and her issues with not coming to the iFit event, which I thought was stupid. So we ain't even gonna talk about that. Kenya, listen, you had options to go to the iFit event or go on the boat. Sis, I'm going on the boat. Okay, I can watch Sanya running around the damn track, and look at old damn Olympic videos and watch her win a gold medals. I don't need to be sitting around here watching Sanya do a damn commercial. I support you. I'm here. Appreciate you, girl, and your skills. You go, girl. But I'm gonna go ahead on this here boat and have me a little drinky drink or two. Okay. And Sheree says, and then they talk about Sheree saying that Sanya needed to handle Kenya. And I'm like, girl, you know good and damn well that ain't nobody saying you're about to be handling no damn Kenya. Who we got in the comments? Terry Lynn says, I don't think that sending the boys to Marlo's sister was the worst thing. They're not her children or on and even biological parents. Hold on, I'm sorry. They're not her children. And even biological parents need a break from kids, and kids need a break from their parents. No, absolutely, Terry Lynn, I agree with you. But I think 30 days is a bit excessive. Like, I could never send my son away for 30 days. And here's my thing, I get it. They're not her biological children. But however, I would think that when you decide to take on the role of a parent by adopting them or taking in children, right? You need to mentally prepare yourself for that before you even do that, because now you have to be very self aware, also aware of their mental health and how you're making them feel. Because by her sending them away for 30 days, they've already had several traumatic situations with her mother leaving them in the house by themselves. Lord knows what they struggled through and suffered through with her mother, their mother, as they were growing up. They've experienced a lot in their little young lives. And for you to go ahead and send them away for 30 days, I will never condone that behavior, especially with children that have had such a traumatic um, upbringing as they have. If you're going to take them in, take them in. and you got to be there to make it do what it do. Okay, there's a lot of foster parents that do it. There's a lot of people that adopt children, and it's a shock to the system. But once you decide to become a parent, that is a huge job that you're taking on, and you have to take it on and take it on seriously. And that's just my 2 cents on it. But I respect what you're saying, but I could not. 30 days is very excessive. I just couldn't do it. Jessica, what's up, Jessica with the K? Jessica says, sorry, I couldn't comment. I was driving, but I'm here. I just think it's extra trifling when Marlo did to the boys because she knows exactly how it feels. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying too. She was a former foster kid. She was in the system. She was bounced around from house to house. So why would you think that now it's okay because you need a break, right? To send the boys away. Like everybody, I get it. Everybody needs a break from their kids. Hell, absolutely. But everybody does, and nobody's going to send their kids away for 30 days because you need a break or not knowing. And what people don't realize is she sent them kids away for longer than 30 days. And that's an issue. Now I get it. People may say, well, I send the kids away for the summer with their dad or, with their grandparents or whatever. That's fine. That's a purpose. But you know that you're going to get the kids back at a certain time. You're sending them away for recreational purposes and for the grandparents to have some time with them because of course, grandparents don't have that much, they getting old. So they want to spend time with their grandkids. Or if you're splitting time with another parent, the dad, and you're sending the kids away for the summer, that's another thing too, because that may be court order, but not because, oh, I'm just throwing my hands up, I'm tired of this, I'm gonna just go ahead and send my kids away for 30 days. No, nobody's doing that. So that's where I'm coming from with that. But thank you both, Terry Lynn and Jessica with the K, for commenting, because it's always good to get different perspectives on certain things. So after Sheree talks about handling Kenya, then here go Martell Holt with his mouse face, raggedy tail, calling from Huntsville, child. He probably was back there in the back in New York with her, trying to be seen in some kind of way, because that's just what he did. So he's FaceTiming, and then Andy says, man, he's a 10 out of 10, Sheree. Like, he's really a handsome guy. Then Kenya says, yeah, I heard that D was a 10 out of 10. I'm like, child, yeah, that's why he got all these daggone kids. Apparently he doing something right, and he licking booty crack from the front to back, according to the mistress. So Sheree, all I got to say is, girl, get tested and strap up every time you do it. And don't let him put his tongue nowhere on you, child, because it's dirty. I know it is. Martell ain't the move, girl. I'm trying to tell you, but he might be messing with her because Sheree, she on the uh golden girl side of life, so she ain't gonna get pregnant. He already got 5 damn kids, child. He don't need no damn more. And over there trying to get child support from Melody. Y'all go ahead and watch Love and Marriage Huntsville. You'll see Martell is a bum. But moving on. So then um Andy asks who said, hold on. They discuss saying Kenya puts on a sob story. Okay, yeah, there we go. So in the next scene, they talk about Sanya saying that Kenya puts on a sob story whenever she tries to hold her accountable. And Andy asked Sanya about Aaron and his treatment of Kenya, saying, do you think that he was, really rude to Kenya, or he got loud with her? And how does she feel about him protecting her? And saying it was like anybody would want their man to come to their aid like that. Like, I really think that that's the actions of a man that really loves you. And no, he wasn't being aggressive with Kenya. And I think Kenya, after seeing it all, she realized that he wasn't trying to be aggressive with her, because she even agreed. She was like, no, he's a very mild-mannered man. I don't think that he was trying to, be aggressive towards me at all. Like, I'm cool with Aaron or whatever. With Aaron or whatever. And so then they talk about who wrote Candy Sucks D Anywhere. And Andy's asked if somebody will confess. First of all, ain't none of them trifling heifers going to confess that they said that about Candy, because they know that Candy Burris can hold a grudge till the end of time, okay? And she will never, ever, ever forgive your tail. Okay. Exhibit A, Phaedra. She will never ever forgive her. I'm surprised that she ended up forgiving Portia. We got some more comments. Terry Lynn says, not dirty tongue. Girl, I'm trying to tell you, Terry. That tongue is dirty. It's been through the rivers and the lakes that everybody used to. Okay, don't even do it, girl. I wouldn't be messing with that dirty tongue. It's been through some things. Okay, through some toilet parts. Okay, he is dirty. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all better leave that man alone. But y'all gonna have me in here coughing. But moving on, then saying it, so nobody confessed about the sucking D comment. Kenya tried to make a little joke and make it seem like it was her, but I don't know. It could I don't think Kenya would have wrote that, but who knows? So then saying it discusses having baby number two and her family living with her, and she's finally decided to go ahead and have another baby because she felt like once Ross pretty much was like, okay, you know what? I'm open to do whatever you want to do. And he wasn't being combative with her about it anymore. She decided to take her IUD out, and they're going to just keep on trying until it happens because she wants to give him the second baby that he wants. And she really loves having all of her family around. And she even discussed that she had her own show on WeTV. She says she likes being a housewife better than even having her own show, which I thought was interesting because I would think having your own show would be the business, but we TV probably ain't paying Bravo checks. So that might be why she like being a housewife more, but I don't know. I digress. So then they talk about Drew making a comment of saying that if Ross wanted to have a baby, that's the basically the wife's duty, and if it's not a health issue, why wouldn't she have a baby? But I get what Drew is saying. She said you asked me and I'm telling you, so don't get mad at me because I'm expressing myself and giving you my opinion. And I agree. Just because it may not be what you think, or y'all may not have the same opinion on what she's saying or how she would actually handle the situation, that doesn't mean get upset with her over what she said. She was basically saying, listen, you got to make the decision that's best for you and your family. Like, you guys have to communicate and talk about that and be on one accord as to what you want to do as a couple, what works for both of you, not necessarily what somebody else have to say or what somebody else think. And I agree with her. So moving, but saying it was like, she just felt like Drew wasn't really showing her any compassion. And so that was where she had an issue with her. So, moving on, y'all. Then they discuss Kenya and Marlo's lack of friendship and how Marlo should understand that Kenya has issues with her because of what she said about her mom. And Marlo has said so much about Kenya. It's just ridiculous. Oh, Jessica with this case says Marlo had the orange marker, so it was definitely her. Was she? Oh, that wrote that about Candy. Child. But you know what? Marlo was being dirty all season. So I agree. She probably did write that mess with her trifling tail. Orange marker for the orange jumpsuit lady. How fitting. How dreadful. Anyway, in the words of Dwight. So then so they discussed Kenya and Marlo's lack of friendship, how Marlo was always talking about Kenya's mother and their lack of relationship. And I'm like, for you to sit up there and talk about Kenya and the relationship with her mother, but obviously you had some turmoil in the relationship with your mother, giving y'all past. Like, what gives you room to be talking about somebody else? And then how she was talking about Kenya's daughter, her ex-husband. Like, I didn't really get where all the animosity for Kenya was coming from with Marlo. It was just really crazy. And she said that Marlo made a comment of made a point of saying that Kenya was okay with being her friend when she was dismissing Portia, or when she wasn't friends with Portia. She was trying to get her not to be friends with Portia. And I'm like, well, Marlo wasn't even on the main cast for it to even be an issue with her being friends with Portia or trying to oust her in some sort of way. So I don't even believe that. So she just basically tried to make it seem like, Kenya, if you're not doing what she wants you to do, then that's why she'll dismiss you. But no, it's because you're disrespectful, Marlo, and you talk about the girl like nobody's business. But Kenya also said you had a square reader between your legs. So both of y'all be going back and forth. Marlo goes below the belt with Kenya more often than Kenya does with her. I feel like more of Kenya's actions are more of a response to the stuff that Marlo does. Okay. So then Kenya says, Marlo is a liar. And she said, your whole name is a lie, Latoya Hutchinson. And Marlo laughs, and they actually show Marlo's birth certificate, and her name really is Marlo Hampton. Apparently, she has a friend named Latoya Hutchinson, and she probably done gave the damn police the child's name one of them damn times that she got arrested, child. So I don't know. But Kenya basically says that Marlo comes off disingenuous, and she's dragged her own mother and nephews, but she never talks about her being in jail herself. But my thing is, I don't really need Marlo to talk about her time in jail. Like, for what? What is that going to do for the show? And what is that going to do for us? Like, we don't really care. We know that she's been in jail. I want her to talk about where she really gets her money from and stop being fake. Like, be honest about the fact that you paid off your townhouse and you were a gold digger that did it right. Cleaned up your credit, paid your bills off, and what have you, and made a business out of the money that you got out of the billionaire dude that you dated. Say that. That's what I want to hear her say. Not all this cockamamie, oh, I have several businesses, but you're not even telling us what it is. It's all very silly. Terry Lynn says, I don't think anyone has been as nasty as Kenya. Marlo just shut her down with her nastiness. Yeah, I think they both have definitely been nasty to each other, but I think Marlo is doing some gutter butt stuff. Like, and it doesn't really have a lot of merit behind it. Like, it's just like, why are you coming for Kenya like this? Like, this girl is paying you dust. She doesn't care about you. So why are you coming for her as hard as you coming for her? Like, I just didn't understand it. And the blogs were saying that Marlo was coming for Candy because she felt like Candy needs to earn her check. And I'm like, Candy has been the most transparent person on this show, talking about her issues with her husband, her mother, her kids, her restaurants, her family, all this stuff. Like, she's been the one that has not hid any information or details of her life. And then she was like, they were like, she was coming for Kenya too. Because everybody, of course, Kenya is the one that's always the shade assassin. So Marlo really didn't throw a lot of shade. She just went below the belt, and it just got tiring over time. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Marlo at all, and I just think she need to go on. This needs to be the last year that she has a peach, in my opinion. But nevertheless, I don't do casting, so we'll see what happens. Child, quiet as it's kept. It's talking about Portia coming back next season, so we never know what's gonna be happening with this cast. So then in the last scene, Sheree and Drew have an exchange about the assistant Anthony and how he allegedly called Ralph gay, and how he said that Sheree don't pay. So Drew ends up reading. They talk about Drew and Sheree's relationship and how it really had a lot of breakdown. And it really seems like this little dude, Anthony, this messy little queen child, he was the one that really caused a lot of the drama in their relationship by the things that he was saying. So Drew played a recording where he basically said that he never said that Ralph was gay. He don't think that Ralph is gay. But then Sheree calls him on the phone, and he says, maybe I did say that Ralph was gay, but I didn't mean it. I don't think that Ralph is gay. I may have just said it when I was angry. But of course, Drew needed a storyline. And I never, and then Sheree was like, did you ever work for me? And he was like, no, I didn't work for you, and you don't owe me any money. And Andy had a good question. Andy was like, well, why do you have him in your phone as your assistant or whatever? And Sheree, and when he said that Sheree doesn't owe him any money and that he was never her assistant, her old stuttering Stanley self was like, oh no, I put everybody in my phone with different names so I can remember them. She was like, yeah, because I have painters in my phone, like, so and so painter. Unless they painted your house, why would you call them a painter? Sheree, you are so full of crap. That boy was your assistant. You didn't pay him. He must be having some type of issues with Drew right now. So he decided it's time to throw her under the bus. But this type of behavior that he has, he ain't never going to work for no celebrities because nobody's going to trust him. So you on here being messy, getting on the phone. Andy didn't even want to hear nothing else the little boy had to say. So he hung up the phone on him. He was like, all right, that's enough. But that was the end of the episode, y'all. Child, like I said, this is probably the most boring reunion that I have ever watched. And yeah, I hope when the guys come out it gets better. But stay tuned. I'll be back on to talk about Married to Medicine. But until then, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for surviving through this with me and my coughs and everything. I'm getting a little better. We trying to work on it. But I will see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and peace out. Signing off.